WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, often trying rare and exotic whiskeys. This whiskey needs to be explained a tiny little bit. It was bottled by the Malts of Scotland, MoS. Malts of Scotland is a German independent bottler, Thomas Evers, from Paderborn, Germany. So he's done some beautiful, excellent, wonderful products. Every once in a while, also American whiskey. So we have Malts of Scotland bottling a single cask, 12-year-old George Dickel barrel. And that's what I have here. It says on the label, then the nice little words, Tullahoma. Now, last year I was at the distillery. I arrived after it had closed, so I got to talk to the guard a little bit. Nice little talk. And this bottle here is a single barrel. It was distilled 2011. It was bottled 2023, 12 years old according to the label. 151 bottles at cask strength of 57.6%. This is what the label says. I can't read. So, and I have bottle number 38. All right, so the very first thing that you might realize is the label is falling off. I just opened this. I just received this. This just appeared in Germany at the end of November. It arrived yesterday. Today I'm doing the video about it. And yet the label didn't really stick here. Shame, shame, shame. All right, so what's the price of a cask strength George Dickel 12-year-old bottled single barrel in Germany? So do you have a price in your head what we should be paying? Other things over in Germany which are not cask strength, which are not Dickel, but are not 12 years of age. Well, the Elijah Craig barrel proof 12-year-old cask strength is about 80 euros. Booker's is about 80 euros. A lot of the products that N10 import over here, Sagamore Rye, cask strength, 80 euros. Driftless Glen single barrel cask strength bourbon, 80 euros. So everything's around the 80 euro point. Not everything, many things. We can't get Blanton straight from the barrel for 80. It's 130 plus. Stag, Junior Stag, we can't get over here for 130, even 120. It's usually 200 at the moment. All right, so those are things that are just out of this world, but those are interesting bottles. This is 79 euros. So the official price of selection of spirits, so Malts of Scotland, is 79 euros. I bought it for an amazing 78.90. I saved 10 cents. Didn't even have to pay postage on it. All right, so I am not the biggest fan of Dickel juice. I get the Flintstone vitamins. I don't know if you had those as well as a child, but that's what I get when I taste this, and usually I can fairly easily in a blind pick it out. What am I going to compare it to? I'm going to compare it to something that I can get over here in Germany for about 10 euros at the cheapest place, 10 euros less. Normal price, I'm going to say 78 euros, 90 cents. So these are about identical in price. This has 57.6% ABV with a 12-year age statement. This is a no age statement whiskey with 64.5. It's very interesting that all of the single barrel proofs in Europe, or at least in Germany, are 64.5% ABV. So I have some left to my German video. It's a waste, and I'm not going to drink it and down it here, so I'm just going to leave it the way that is. Whiskybase number 242873. As I just said, in November of 2023, this just hit the market, 151 bottles. Let's try it. Let's see what this is like. So Dickel is an interesting distillery because they've belonged now to Diageo for quite some time. We're talking decades now. And I have the feeling, personal feeling, might be wrong, that they sometimes just look at the balance sheet and they kind of go, well, I think we need to improve that. Let's just sell a lot of casks. So a lot would be 100 barrels. It could be even 1,000 barrels sometimes. That improves your revenue, your balance sheet, the bottom line greatly within a very, very short piece of time. And that's what I think they do. You'll see Dickel juice in a lot of the independent bottlers. So Malts of Scotland have bottled at least 5 different Dickel products, some of them 5 years old, some of them 6 years old, some of them 8 years old. According to what I can find online, this is the oldest so far. Oh, this was an interesting fact. Let's take a look at this real quick. So they were all distilled 2011. All right, so we have here from V&M, that is here Valnich, and Mallet. It's an Italian independent bottler. They had a Tullahoma 2011. Malts of Scotland did a 2011 in the year 16, 17, and now 23. So there's only 3 of them from them so far, and the 1 here from V&M. So there have been products that have reached the market over here already. They did a good job, I think, of waiting the entire 12 years. 10 years might have been enough, but 12 years is actually very, very, very nice. One last statement. I do not think that this cask went directly from Tennessee in the bottle to Germany. No. The cask was sent over. Now the question, that was sent over to where? I do not think it originally went to Germany. I think the cask originally went to England, Scotland. So, and then from Whiskey Broker probably. And from Whiskey Broker, either it was bottled there, which I do know that the Malts of Scotland worked together with, or it was actually the cask, and I've seen casks, pictures of casks. I've never been to the shop. I have to go to the shop one day. Of casks of American whiskey in Paderborn maturing. So I do know there are other casks still there. So we'll see. So this is an independent bottler that somehow 2000 has got its hands on some whiskey from the year 2011, and it's all from George Dickel. And even on the label, it says very, very, very small print, George Dickel. I'm not even really sure they have the permission to write that name down there. So Tullahoma is not the problem, but George Dickel might be a problem. Who knows if Diageo wants to get their lawyers out and do a cease and desist on the nose. As I said, I think I could pick this out of many, many different whiskeys here. This has the Dickel moment here. It has a tiny little bit of a acetone, a little bit of a airplane glue moment going on as well. It's got a little bit of sweet wood. It's got some Fred Flintstone vitamins, a little bit of orange peel. And it's got a little bit more of a sassafras moment going on in there. The Jack Daniel's single barrel proof with 64.5%. Darker, richer, leather, tobacco notes. A little bit of brown sugar going on in here. Oh, this is so much richer, darker, and better. On the nose, this is a B whiskey. This is a C+. C+ is still good. A, why haven't you bought it? B, buy it. C, you can buy it if you want. D, you don't need to buy it. And F, why was the stuff even made? So this is a C+, all right? So now wait. Let's try this. Cheers. 57.6% ABV. Typical Dickel. I do get a tiny little bit of a tree sap moment going on there. It's woody. There is a little bit of a caramel, a little bit of tobacco, a little bit of a leather moment, but more brighter, a little bit lighter notes going on in here. This is deep, dark brown. This is a beige. This is a beige with a lot of alcohol. Now the 57.6% is not a lot, but I don't think this spent most, I don't even think it spent most of its life. I think with 4 years it came over here. So 8 years of the 12, I would assume, it's an assumption, it's probably wrong, it's just a guess, it's a prediction. I would say at least around 8 years, could be 6 years, this cask spent in Germany, at least in Europe. And the weather, as we know in Europe, is totally different from the weather in Kentucky or Tennessee for that matter, where this was made. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my magic trick. With magic trick, I mean I'm going to bring this down from 57.6 down to about 50%. And this whiskey is going to magically transform into something that I really like. So this is still, even on the palate with that water, on a good day, a C+. All right? But at 50%, at around 50%, it turns into a much, much more balanced product. The tree sap is almost gone. Cinnamon, cloves, allspice kick in. There's a little bit more of a velvety texture on my palate. Silky, velvety, not thin, the opposite. Really, really creamy. And it turns into whiskey that I very much like. That's a B-. All right, and so please, if you can, play around with your water and the whiskey a little bit and see which you like. Cask strength, barrel proof is not always the best. It can be, maybe it even often is, but in this case for me it's not. This whiskey is very, very nicely balanced. Somewhere between 50 and 53% is where I would love to have this whiskey. Enjoy this whiskey, and yes, thoroughly just enjoy the whiskey. A friend of mine, he actually poured out, like he calculated, all right, good, I need to pour out 8 centiliters, and I'll fill that 8 centiliters up with water, and I'll just let the bottle set. And he actually videotaped this of him pouring water into his bottle. And it was a cask strength whiskey, and it hurt my heart at the beginning, but then this is what I would recommend with this as well. I know that the bottler himself says, "No, Jason, barrel proof, like God made it, that's what we want." And yet, for me, from my drinking experience, I know that I will not enjoy this at 57.6%. I will enjoy this at 53, 50%. That's what I want. And before every single time I put the water in there, why not just make it right from the very beginning? And so I understand. So why don't you do that? The question of the day is, have you ever done that? Have you ever diluted down a bottle of barrel-proof whiskey to where you know you enjoy it the most in the bottle? Most of the times I do in the glass. Now, the next thing I want to mention is, do you have a favorite brand or distillery from Tennessee? Is it going to be Jack Daniel's, for example, the barrel-proof single barrel? Is it going to be maybe a Dickel? Is it going to be anything from Tennessee Distilling Company? Is it going to be Uncle Nearest? Is it going to be Corsair? Is it going to be, wow, I just forgot a lot of my different Tennessee whiskey brands. The one I was just thinking about, Benjamin Pritchard's. We have here Nelson Green Briar Distillery. We have Uncle Nearest from Shelbyville. We have here Farrar Distillery from Noah. Never heard of them. Collier and McKeel from Nashville. Chattanooga Whiskey Company. Forgot about them. Those are some of the bigger brands here at the moment that we might have heard of. So, okay, Leaper's Fork Distillery and some other ones. So those are some of the different brands that we might have from Tennessee that you might have enjoyed or you might like to push. Write down in the chat what are the whiskeys you like. In Germany, we know Jack Daniel's and we know George Dickel. I'm trying to push Uncle Nearest. And online we see, at least some of us see Chattanooga Whiskey Company. And we used to have Benjamin Pritchard's over here, but I haven't seen anything reach the shores for at least 5 years. All right, so that's that. Oh, I forgot to try this. I don't need any water. I love the 46.5%. The Tennessee hug. I love it. All right. Thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing. Have you added water to your bottle? If so, good experience, bad experience? And what is your favorite Tennessee whiskey? Thank you very much for subscribing, liking, sharing, and telling others. See you soon. Bye-bye. Whiskey Jason here.